What's going on, folks? We're back at it for the last episode of MMA Lock Talk for the week. It's been a long week. Feels like it. I'm starting to feel it. Still had 4 streams that I did yesterday, actually. I did 3 on my own channel. One was the MMA Lock Talk. Did the MMA Lock Cast before that. And then at night, I went on for a Locky late night just to talk about a bunch of the fights that were just announced, over Bellator and UFC. Seemed like there was a ton of them that were announced over the last 24 hours. So, or, maybe not even 24 hours, maybe the last 3-4 days that I wanted to talk about. So I went live for about half an hour to talk about that. If you guys want to hear my thoughts on that, check out the last episode of the Lucky Late Night. And then I went on with my guys over on Chronic Combat Conversations. We did a breakdown, a 2-hour breakdown show with those guys as well. So shout out to those guys. Love hopping on with those guys whenever I get the opportunity to do so. I feel as though, give me 1 second, there might be a small chance that my audio is not connected properly. Yeah, don't be on the Logitech. Let's be on the actual mic. There we go. That should be better now. All right. Yeah, usually I jump into these and I quickly check the audio settings, but the last several times has been good, and now it's definitely a lot better. Usually it automatically picks up on the mic, but for some reason it was picking up on my webcam this time around, hence the shitty audio. But we are fixed up. We are ready to go. Like I said, been a long week. Got a lot of content that dropped. Got a lot more content that I'm going to be working on. Just confirming with Cody in terms of our showtime. For propping you up. I want to make sure that we're both on the same side. Usually, we've been trying to stick with the 5 p.m. start time. Haven't heard from him. But nothing new. You know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see what he says, but it should be 5 p.m. If that is the case, I'll be finishing up this podcast at just about 5 o'clock, setting up the stream for that show and then hopping right into his show as well. So plenty to still do. I'll also be dropping my dog of the night video this evening, just breaking down Dominic Cruz versus Marlon Chito Vera a little bit more, in a shorter form than the 2-hour podcast that people are used to seeing. So keep your eyes out for that later this evening. I have to finish updating the Lock of the Night and Dog of the Night challenge standings. I got to finish the Contender Series tape index. And yeah. I sent in my Action Network co-main event breakdown, which will be posted on the website very shortly. I have to also work on my Action Network prop that I'm going to be dropping for this week as well. Plenty to stay busy with when your boy is in the zone. I gotta admit, I am a little bit tired though. Like I want to sleep. I did take a little bit of a nap. Maybe 20-minute power nap, but it didn't really do me much justice. But I will try to bring up the energy for you guys so that we can kick it and chill out in the chat. Let me just take a sip of water and we can see what the chat is saying here. Appreciate everybody that's already in here. Y'all are the real ones. All right. Richard Perez in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Elijah on Dream. One of the regulars. Appreciate you stopping by. Yes, the mic was shitty. There we go. Elijah on Dream with the first statement that I wanted to actually address and seeing it on the timelines. He's saying, I hope Jones Stipe happens in December like they want. That would be amazing if they do. Because I don't know if I can stomach a full 3 years of Jon Jones being out. The guy's just wasting away his prime. You know what I mean? Like he's 30. What is he now? 35 years old. Are you kidding me? I can't believe Jon Jones is finally 35 years old because all I was ever hearing during his run and all that was, man, this guy's still young. Man, this guy's still young. Again, at heavyweight, you can get away with being an older guy, but how long can you really perform at the highest level, especially with being out for as long as you have, and for especially, taking his time going up to heavyweight the way that he did? What if it didn't work out for him to what if it didn't work out that his heavyweight move is, it slows him down, the guys are too strong for him, this, that, and the next. Um yeah, it's gonna suck if he comes back and looks very bad because he should go down as one of the greatest fighters of all time, is what it is. Yeah, Jones became the youngest UFC champion in history when he defeated Mauricio Shogun, who at the age of 23, 23 years old, this guy sat atop the throne, and then it all went to shit. No bueno. So, great fight if that is the one that they want to put together. It could easily be a headliner, right? Non-title fight, 5-round main event. They could do it on pay-per-view. They should do it on pay-per-view if that's the fight that they're going to end up going with. But it is a great barometer, one, to see where Jones is at and if he truly will cut it at heavyweight, and two, Stipe. You know what I mean? We haven't seen Stipe in a while now. Let's see how that goes out. Lajon Dream saying, when is propping you up? It should be 5 o'clock, but I'm keeping my eyes glued on the on my Twitter DMs to see when Cody gets back to me. Lajon Dream saying, Dom undefeated in non-title fights. Yes, he is. Let's see if that trend continues this weekend. Richard Perez saying, I'm loving Dom in this weekend spot. I definitely do as well. Yuri didn't want the smoke in Brazil in January. Yeah, he's doing the Glover rematch. I think that's supposed to take place in November or December, if I'm not mistaken, right? Hopefully, that's the fight they end up going with because I wouldn't mind seeing it. You know, I mean, we got Jamal Hill and Magomed Ankalaev kind of just sitting on the side. No, not sitting on the sidelines, but waiting for their opportunity. Maybe they get matched up. Maybe one of those guys get matched up with Jan Blachowicz, as we've been seeing. Magomed Ankalaev has been talking about fighting Jan Blachowicz, but Jan, I don't know if he wants a title fight or something like that, but he doesn't seem too accepting of the Ankalaev fight either. So be ready to see that rematch go down. Fletcher Cox saying Bellator picks. I did not look into Bellator this weekend. I apologize. I don't want to half-ass it either. So I know a bunch of other guys that are dropping Bellator content and Bellator picks. Please seek those guys up. I apologize. Tristan Sherhouse in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. Elijah Dream saying, I hope we get Jones and Ngannou eventually. Well, if Jones wins, Ngannou still needs a little bit of time to sit back and wait and heal up. So maybe the winner of Jones Stipe ends up getting the title shot. Wouldn't be a bad way to go about it. DFS Whispers in the chat saying, what's good luck? Hope all is well with you and the fam. Likewise, my friend. Appreciate you stopping by as always. Lajuan Dream saying Yuri Glover targeted for 282 in December. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Tristan Shaw saying early lean pre-tape in the Rodriguez versus Armfield fight. Heavy lean Christian Rodriguez. I think that kid is the truth. I really do. Now that he'll be going back down to his legit weight class and has a legitimate training camp behind him as well, sky's the limit for this kid. He gave Jonathan Pierce all he could handle, and I see some big things out of this kid. And I think that Garrett Armfield fight is the perfect way for him to start off his UFC career with a dub. Got to feel bad for Garrett, though, to go from David Onama to now to a guy like Christian Rodriguez. Hopefully they give Garrett another shot, considering he took the Onama fight on short notice and more than likely will not be favored in this fight against Christian Rodriguez. But I do think that Garrett can get some wins inside the UFC. I just don't think he beats that guy. Sense Boulevard saying they both agreed on Vegas in December on Twitter today. Well, I hope they put it together. That'll be a great fight. BP saying Randy Brown beats Ronaldo in October. I believe he should. I think I'd put a pretty good wager on that as well, to be honest, if it was good enough odds. My guy with the Russian name saying, hi, I love your show. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate all the love and support. BP saying predictions on Cody G versus Yaya. Can finally ask you about other picks on future cards. There you go. There you go. Question for you, BP, before I answer that. Are you the Brandon Phillips that normally is on the channel? I think you've closed your name up now to be BP, but I think that is you. You gotta be Cody, right? But Yanni will Yanni, yeah. Yanni? No, sorry, fuck. Can you guys tell I need a little bit of sleep? Jesus. Haniyaya. Haniyaya still throws a big heat. You know, he has that no fucks given style in the striking in terms of just throwing big heat so that he can eventually get his hands on you, take it to the ground, and get that jiu-jitsu going. But Cody Garbrandt should start him here. You know what I mean? Slicker striker. As long as he doesn't get clipped on the chin at all here, he should be able to cruise. But do I really want to pay that money on Cody yet? I don't know. Depends on the odds, right? You give me minus 140, minus 150 on Cody, I'll probably take the shot. You give me better than minus 180 on Cody, I'll probably take the shot. But anything worse than that, got to be weary about that shit. John saying, have you ever seen a better card on paper than UFC 280? Best I've ever seen. I'll be honest, you know, it didn't play out to the level of the name value that was on UFC 200. But UFC 200 was pretty dope. You know what I mean? Especially if Jon Jones and Cormier stayed at the top there. 200 gets some flack because of the main event being Tate versus Nunes. But like just starting at the bottom, look at that card was just straight fire. Jim Miller versus Takanori Gomi, Gegard Mousasi versus Thiago Santos. I'm starting from the bottom. So to get Gegard Mousasi as the second fight of the night, absolutely insane. That was versus Thiago Santos, Joe Lozon versus Diego Sanchez, Sage Northcutt versus Enrique Marin. Obviously, Sage Northcutt, way bigger of a name back then, not as much anymore. TJ Dillashaw versus Rafael Sansao, Calvin Gastelum versus Johnny Hendricks, Juliana Pena versus Gatzingano, Cain Velasquez versus Travis Brown, Jose Aldo versus Frankie Edgar for the featherweight title, Daniel Cormier versus Anderson Silva as the aforementioned, I said Anderson Silva stepped in on short notice as Jon Jones popped for steroids the week of the fight. Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt, co-main event, and then Nunes versus Tate in the main event. So as an overall card, UFC 200, was really fucking good. But yeah, 280 could have potentially surpassed it. Gino Hero saying Gabriel Benitez versus Charlie Ontiveros. Charlie will be Gabriel's biggest opponent thus far, I think. Do you think Charlie is a good underdog pick? I will likely be taking a half unit shot on Ontiveros to win in round one at plus 900, as that is his best path to victory in this fight. Gabriel Benitez durability starting to show some wear and tear, and Charlie Ontiveros could absolutely clip in here, put him out, and get that victory as an underdog. So I don't hate it, but I find it hard to believe that Ontiveros gets much of a win outside of round one in this spot. So you get a decent enough money line on him. I'm still picking Benitez to win. I think he'll withstand that early barrage and then finish him later in this fight. The spot that I'd target, probably the fight doesn't go to decision in other spots. You know what I mean? That's what it would be. For me, half unit shot on Tavares round one at plus 900. No brainer, but most of my money will be on the fight doesn't go to decision. Elijah Dream saying 280 starting early in the AM2 for you guys. Well, I think it starts 10 a.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken, which I love. So it'll be 7 a.m. for the PST years. Excuse me. I don't mind it. Chad Candle saying, great show. Love the Lock Night contest, even though I'm dead fucking last. Hey, there's still time. You still got about 3.5 months. I've seen some crazy comebacks, my friend. Corey Yipo saying on Tavares Cruz parlay plus 1040 worth a shot. I feel much better about Cruz than I do on Tavares. I'd rather just split those up personally. BP, all right. I wonder why you changed your name, my friend. Tristan Charles, do you think Tony should retire and save his brain? I think he should. Or the UFC should The UFC should give him somebody that, one's not gonna just lay and prey on him, and two, a guy that doesn't have massive knockout power. That's it. Aaron saying that's his burner account. Probably is. Noah Allen saying doxed BP. I had to do it. I had to do it. What's going on, Aaron? Appreciate you stopping by. Noah Allen saying, yeah, round 2 KO. That would be hilarious and such a meme if Yaya is able to go up there and knock this guy out. BP saying, I hope recency bias gives me a great number on Izzy against Alex in November. I think the odds for that are already out. And I think you are getting the recency bias effect on that. Where is it? Minus 165 right now on DraftKings for Israel Adesanya. If the odds stay the same, I wouldn't mind one small poke on Pereira, right? I get it. I get it. Everybody's like, hey, whoa, how dare you try to fade Israel Adesanya with the one-dimensional kickboxer? Well, when has Israel Adesanya shown us any grappling success of his own? Are we all of a sudden thinking there's going to be Khabib to try to take this fight to the ground? Okay, if it's a striking battle, then I'll leave it to the coin toss and take the underdog odds on Alex Pereira. But like, I know there's absolutely going to be people breaking down that fight saying, hey, Adesanya is going to grapple him. He's been fighting MMA much longer. He's been training MMA much longer. He's going to look to go to his grappling, take him to the ground. I think that Pereira has worked on his takedown defense enough to stuff whatever type of grappling approach that Israel Adesanya is going to be looking to take. He could take it, and he's likely better in that realm. I'm just not sold on the fact that he has the wrestling to do it to the extent that people are expecting him to. And even in a striking battle, it's going to be a 50-50 fight. I lean Pereira with the bigger power. And again, like, go back and watch Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. Adesanya was not able to get away with being the taller, bigger guy because he wasn't there in terms of being able to use that length and size to his advantage like he has at middleweight. He couldn't. And we saw Blachowicz getting off on him more often than not in his strikes. Blachowicz was outstriking him in an MMA setting. Which leads me to my last point is Adesanya, a lot of his success comes from being the bigger, lankier guy and able to keep guys at distance and then being able to hit these guys without taking too much damage in return. That will not be in play for him here against Alex Pereira. No Cruz prop getting cracked. I disagree, but we shall see. JC saying chalk parlay this Saturday for UFC is the way to go. Got to be careful. There's a lot of chalk I see shit in the bed as well. BP saying it'll be interested to if Jan Jan can get back on the winning side against Dern, leaning Dern via sub. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to back Jan, especially considering like Carla Esparza got her out of there with TKO. Yeah, I mean, by dominating her from on top. What do we think Mackenzie Dern is going to do? And I'm a big Yan Xiaonan fan. Trust me, I love her. But I know my spots when to get in and get out on her. Against Marina Rodriguez, I thought the odds were way too off. I thought she did enough to win that fight, or at least make a case for winning that fight, but I got that fight wrong. When she fights Dern, I will likely be on the Dern side, depending on odds. I wouldn't bet her heavy chalk, though. Lajon Dream saying 10 a.m. Eastern. Yes, wake and bacon, day drinking for 280. It is my birthday that day, so I'll be getting fucked up all day. Lajon Dream saying, wonder where the odds will end up by the time Izzy and Alex fights. I could see it possibly closing, right? The recency bias is a real thing. But yeah. BP saying on the point of Izzy maybe grappling. Remember, Francis surprised the fuck out of all of us and grappled wrestling with guns, so you never know. Would be silly not to think Izzy isn't grappling wrestling. He will. Like, he's going to look to do it, I think. But I just don't think he has the chops to actually do it effectively. Like, I feel like I've saw enough for Alex Pereira's takedown defense, his willingness to just march right back up to his feet, work to the cage and get back up to his feet. It's reminiscent of Adesanya from earlier in his UFC career when guys were looking to take him down, but he never settled on bottom. He always looking to get back to his feet. So yes, Izzy might take that approach, but I just don't think it's going to be as effective as most people think it could be. Luke Fulton saying Cruz money line, Vera round 4, round 5 for me. I I get it. It's the take that Cheeto is going to take over and finish him late, but like I don't get it. I really don't get the whole Cruz is going to slow down to the point that Cheeto Vera is going to hit the gas and get him out of there. It's not that easy. Yes, Cruz or Vera gets stronger as fights go on, but like how many times has he fought a guy like Dominic Cruz? Never. It's we're acting like Dominic Cruz has never fought a 5-round fight in his life. The guy has like 9 or 10 5-round fights under his belt, and he usually wins those later rounds. I mean, let me try to get some facts behind that rather than just speaking out of my ass. Going to MMA decisions here. Let's pull up Cruz's career in rounds 4 and 5, dating back to his even WEC days. 1 second. All right, I'm disregarding the Kenny and Munoz fights, obviously, because those are 3-round fights. Where are these 5-rounders at? So no actual scorecards on MMA decisions for Cruz Benavidez 2. Like no actual scorecards as in like the numbers that they're giving us, but based on fan scoring, rounds 4 and 5, rounds 4, 90% for Cruz, round 5, 75% for Cruz. Going on to Cruz versus Scott Jorgensen, rounds 4 and 5, Dominic Cruz. Going to the second Cruz and Faber fight, rounds 4 and 5 unanimously on 2 judges' scorecards. One judge gave Faber round 4, but he also gave Cruz round 5. So he dropped round 4 to Uriah Faber. Demetrius Johnson versus Dominic Cruz, 50-45s all around. 87% for Cruz in round 4, 88% for Cruz in round 5. Cruz versus Dillashaw. Dillashaw on 2 judges scorecards, round 4, won rounds 4 and 5. One judge gave Cruz rounds 4 and 5. Let's see what the fan scoring said. Fan scoring round 4, Dillashaw, 90%. Round 5, Dillashaw, 80%. So you might have a case there. Cruz versus Faber 3. Cruz, unanimous, rounds 4 and 5. And then the Cody Garbrandt fight. 2 judges were split, with round 4 being for Garbrandt, round 5 being for Cruz. And that's Cruz coming back from a 10-8 round 4 and going on to win round 5. And then Tony Weeks gave Garbrandt rounds 4 and 5 pretty straight up, but didn't give Garbrandt that 10-8 in round 4. Very interesting. So, yeah. Yeah, let's go with Cruz. Sticking with that plus money, sticking with that veteran experience, and sticking with one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. JC saying Adesanya was winning versus Pereira before he got KO'd. Possible. And that's always a possibility, right? See Rob Font and Chito Vera as well, right? Winning until he gets clipped and dropped. Like that could absolutely happen. Could absolutely happen in this weekend as well with Vera and Cruz. Corey Yupo saying the best fight of 2022 has to be Mike Perry versus MVP. Has that happened yet? When is that scheduled for? Aaron saying Alex is vicious. Izzy is like precision, but you like Izzy if Pereira wants to be aggro. I like Izzy if Pereira wants to be aggro. Yeah. It's a very interesting stylistic matchup. I would love to see it play out mainly on a striking level, honestly. Luke Fulton saying, "Oh, I'm on the Cruz side, just my little hedge. I don't hate it. I really don't hate it." Moyes Audio saying Cruz ends up in the carousel this week. Don't you be saying that, Moyes. Don't you bring that juju around here. Luke Fulton saying, I bet Cruz at plus 150, thinking money would come in. I don't get it either. Yeah. I got in at plus 180, and then I saw plus 200. I got him on both of those as well as some as well on decision only Dominic Cruz at plus 150. Corey Ipo saying Scott Jorgensen was an animal. He was, but he was very limited in his skill set. I'll give him that. Tristan Shaw saying, would you ever be willing to bring John Stargarian on MMA Lock Talk, kind of like you do DLP with Clint every so often? Well, DLP is me and Clint. Like, that is our show together. In terms of having guests on the MMA Lock Talk, like, it's not something I really want to do because it is based on me just chatting with the live chat. Essentially, you guys are the guests. You guys are the guests on the MMA Lock Talk. I want to talk with you guys in the chat as much as possible. But I will eventually bring John on for the pay-per-view episodes. Oh, sorry, not pay-per-view episodes. For the Ultimate Weigh-In show. JC saying big value on Leon Edwards next week. I dare not fade the best fighter in the UFC right now in Kamaru Usman, but one of these days that age and those bad knees are going to catch up to him. Leon Edwards might be the spot. I'll likely just be staying away myself. Lajon Dream saying think Perry MVP is not this weekend, but the next. Again, not much bare knuckle really gets me going, but that one should be fun. Especially with MVP only having to stick with the strikes. That's interesting. BP saying you think Marina Rodriguez is taking a big risk fighting Lemos at my UFC 280? I don't think so. I think she wins that fight pretty handily as well. You know, minus 150 is currently what we're getting on Rodriguez. My only concern is if Lemos does look to get this fight to the ground and try to use her superior jiu-jitsu. That is my concern. Outside of that, I think Rodriguez Cruz is pretty easy. Tristan Charles saying, gotcha. Love you guys as a combo, though. Yes, I do love him as well. Ryan Lozano saying, do you think Shaw boxes in 2023? I don't think so. And are you saying that because his podcasting career seems to be going downhill? Maybe needs to make some money by taking a celebrity fight. I think people would love to see that just because they love to hate on him, right? Good question, though. Also, RIP to Bill Russell, right? I'm not sure if we have any NBA fans in here, but definitely RIP to him. The UFC, or sorry, the UFC, the NBA for the first time ever is doing a retiring a number across the board, like across the league. Nobody can ever wear number 6 again. So shout out to anybody that is currently wearing number 6. You will no longer be able to wear number 6. Elevate in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Saying Vera versus Cruz. I've got to imagine that Vera beating a younger O'Malley will be validated once he beats him easy. Loads of fans still doubting Cheeto's wrong. Locke, can you give us your confidence level? I am quite confident on the uh, Cruz side. I think I put it at an 8 out of 10, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I feel pretty fucking good about Dominic Cruz in this spot. Cheeto's good. And again, like, I beg people to go back to watch that O'Malley Vera fight. Like, O'Malley was lighting him up. And then we saw that obvious, like, that injury that he took. I hope that we eventually get that fight back, but O'Malley was definitely touching him up there. Tristan Sherrill saying any hot takes on Vandera versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Gotta lean Cortez Acosta considering the poor fight IQ on the Vandera side. Moyes saying Pedro Munoz leg reach 36.5, Marlon Vera leg reach 40.5. Look at this guy pulling out the fucking numbers and metrics here on the possible leg kicking game of Marlon Vera versus what Pedro Munoz was able to do. So it's a path for him. Slow down the wheels of Dominic Cruz and try to pick him apart later in this fight. We'll see. You know, out of the 20 plus leg kicks that Pedro Munoz landed, I don't think we saw Dominic Cruz slow down at all. All right, P number 6. You already know. Lajon Dreams saying they're grandfathering number 6 though, so anybody who's already wearing it still can. Oh, okay. That's what I get for just reading headlines. BP saying your boy Malcolm Gordon beats Makayev. Nah, his Cinderella run is over. Moyes thinks Vandera beats Waldo Acosta or Cortez Acosta by heart attack. I love it. Elevate saying Cruz is also wildly underrated. I hear that. Sean did definitely have him boxed in. I saw that tape. Appreciate it, Lock. There you go. It's weird that a guy with only 3 losses and has been widely considered one of the greatest bantamweights of all time is underrated. But that's what it's seeming going into this fight. Will it be his age that bites him in the ass this weekend? To this point, I haven't seen enough to truly consider that. And truly consider even going to the window to pay minus 240 on Marlon Vera. Mm. Jacksonville Zoe saying, dang, Luck, you have me thinking about betting Cruz. I'm going to go back and watch his last 3 fights again. I want to bet the 150 Cruz decision only, but my books do not have it. Shout out to DraftKings for dropping that. Aaron saying on the O'Malley fight, I watched without signing. He was like stumbling and getting pushed back and not really bounced, while Vera was saw really sitting on the kicks to the body. From what I remember, again, maybe I just got to refresh my memory, but from what I remember, O'Malley was touching him up before his leg got messed up. And again, it's probably true that Vera caused the leg to get messed up, but no doubting that O'Malley was touching him up. JC saying Cruz via Pelahan's decision. I'm okay with that. Tristan saying, do you think Alias Kab Kizriev has top 50 potential at welterweight if he drops down? I think so. I just need to see more of him. Like, let me see, because like his last fight was the one on against Dennis Kizriev, right? Not Dennis Kizriev, Dennis to Lulin, yeah. He had plenty of fights lined up between 2020 and 2022 that I would have preferred to see than him versus Dennis Tuliulian, right? Wellington Turman, Kyle Dawkins, Alessio De Greco, and Abusapian Magomedov. I don't know. I just need to see more from him. The guy seems like he has solid potential, though. BP saying thoughts on Martinez versus Swanson at 135 in October. Solid fight. You know, if Swanson still has some dynamite in his hands, he could potentially knock out Martinez. But I like Martinez, man. I like this kid. I likely won't bet him unless he's like better than around that minus 150 range, because I do think that Cub Swanson is starting to fall off. But like Martinez, this is the time to finally show whether you have the potential of always being that minus 250 favorite that you are in fights. Corey, you posting Zalal this weekend? Yes, but I am not touching that fight at all. Justin Villegas asking what time is propping you up. It should be 5 o'clock, but I am still waiting for the GOAT, Cody Safter, to get back to me to confirm that time. As soon as I find out, I will be tweeting it out, so keep your eyes on my timeline as well. BP saying also thoughts on Topuria versus Edson. Edson has 4-inch height advantage and 6-inch reach advantage. Yes, Topuria, kind of. Well, this is taking place at 145 pounds as well. I lean Topuria. Like his grappling should get it done for him, right? Edson normally struggles with those guys that are able to get him down over and over again. I think Topuria can get away with that as well. Hopefully, he doesn't try to be a G and try to outstrike Edson Barboza, because that won't go well for him. But I think that Topuria will likely land the takedowns and grind this fight out or find a finish from on top. Jacksonville Zoe saying, I think Cruz does not get the respect because he has not fought a lot in the last 4 to 5 years. Yes. Surprisingly, he has only had 9 UFC fights since the WEC moved into the UFC. Unfortunate that his body has not been able to hold up, although his last 2 performances show me that he can still compete at a high level at least. BP saying Chase Hooper beat Steve Garcia in October 2. I don't know about that. I gotta freshen up my memory on Steve Garcia personally, but never been a big Chase Hooper guy. Did Chase win his last fight? Feel like he did. Who did he fight? Felipe Colares, right? Yeah, he beat Felipe Colares via KO in the third round. I think Chase Hooper's skill set is limited, honestly. Steve Garcia won't really push him from my memory, but that's all going to be odds dependent. Corey Yipo saying Sugar Sean plus 330 all day. If he puts the volume on Piotr Jan without getting touched, he could win this fight, but I think Jan eventually gets him. And I'm not sure if you saw the tweet that Sean O'Malley put out. It might be fake. I don't recall it, but he's saying he's okay with losing to Piotr Jan. So he's already going into that fight knowing that this is like a hazing fight. This is a fight for him to be initiated into that legitimacy talk of saying, okay, look, I am not cherry picking my fights. I'm fighting the best of the best. If I go, best case scenario, he goes out there and gets the win. Worst case scenario, he stepped in there with Piotr Jan. That's it. It's a win-win for Sugar, in my opinion. MPTV seeing Vera beats O'Malley 10 out of 10 times. Wow. Crazy luck. Elevate saying Nunes wins this fight and we get a little Nunes winning streak for both Amanda and Nina. What do you think, Locke? I want nothing to do with that fight. Like my prediction is Nunes in that fight, but I don't know. Very close fight. Who knows what kind of Cynthia Calvillo we're going to get? Is it the quitter or is it the one that goes out there, lands takedowns, and dominates opponents on the mat? Who the fuck knows? I'm not touching that fight. There's two fights I'm acting like that are not happening this weekend. Nunes versus Calvillo. Don't give a fuck about that, nor do I want my money tied to that fight. And Yusuf Zalal and Damon Blackshear. Staying away from that one as well. Lajwan Dream saying, what do you got here? Sorry. Did you see the wild edited video on Twitter with McGregor, Masvidal, Dana, and a bunch of other people? I did. That was fucking hilarious. Like people's editing skills are legit. Like honestly, it is amazing seeing the type of work that these guys are able to put in and edit shit together. Corey Yipo saying, not trusting the sneaky Russian, he will take another fall and ride off into the sunset. Which Russian is that? Sorry, I might be missing on that. JC saying Romanov Costa parlay is lock. Is that the following week? Is that UFC 280? Oh, 278. Paulo Costa minus 280. Wowie. But I do agree with that. And then Romanov minus 350 against Marcin Tybura. I wouldn't look past Marcin Tybura. I would not look past Marcin Tybura. Might even be worth a little bit of a stab, honestly. Plus, closing in on plus 300 is wild. You guys remember the Juan Espino fight for Alexander Romanov? Not a good look when fights have to go deeper. And Tybura, ultra veteran, could make things rough for him. Jackson Vizzo saying that O'Malley Yan fight has me vexed, terribly vexed. Yan should win, but dang, the odds are bad. They are. Justin Villegas saying, thank you, Lupi Godinez fight week. Let's go. Aaron saying Lupi plus Cruz Vera over 2.5 parlay. I like it. I don't hate that at all. Elevate saying Nina lost 3 and Amanda just bounced back from that decision loss. Decision loss. I don't know. Lost to her last win was in Toronto. Yeah, against was it against Claudia Gadelia? Then again, when you're losing to Tatiana Suarez and Mackenzie Dern, not horrible. But we'll see. MPTV saying O'Malley's in so much trouble with Jan. If he couldn't handle Pedro, I can't wait to see how he handles Piotr. Yeah, Pedro I thought was winning that fight up until that whole issue. But O'Malley seemed very gun shy in that spot. Aaron saying Chase has improved. That is true. Jacksonville Zoe saying Hooper's striking is slowly getting better. Again, Steve Garcia, not the greatest fighter either, right? So it's definitely a winnable fight for him. MPTV saying Hooper met a ceiling in Alex Caceres. Yes, I was very happy to get underdog money on Caceres that night. Aaron saying the most locked thing of the card, I think, is the Quinlan KO. You trust the man totally off the sauce? Could work. I do think he wins, but not as confident as my guy Aaron seems to be. Corey Yipo saying Chase looks very impressive last fight. He learned ground and pound finally, and he's from Washington. Let's go. Maybe a little bit of bias there for my guy Corey Yipo. Moise saying Calvillo via scissor submission. You are a savage, bro. You are a savage. BP saying CJ Vergara versus Tatsuro Taira prediction. I lean Taira. You know, the kid was impressive in his last fight, but I definitely lean him. CJ is a dog. I mean, I don't know what he's done to the UFC for him to go out there and get difficult matchup after difficult matchup. And although he sprung the upset in his last fight, the UFC continues to give him these hot prospects, seeing if he can continue to spoil the party. But I lean Tyra there, but I got to run the tape once again myself. Lajon Dream saying, I wish I could edit like that. God damn, could only imagine how long that video took to make. I know. Like even my videos that I edit, you know, it takes me way too long. That shit would have taken me forever. Jacksonville Zoe saying, I'm not betting that fight, but could only bet Nunes. No way I would lay minus 175 on Cynthia. I absolutely agree. Sharks at DFS saying, if KGB Lee is making you say no mas, that's a problem. That is the biggest problem I have about this. I will never forgive her for quitting on the stool like the way that she did. Elevate saying, who the fuck knows is right. Another weird matchup for the other Nunes. Exactly. Rick James saying Luke Rockhold finna come back and prove all the naysayers wrong until he shows me that he can eat a clean shot on the chin without tumbling like a pile of bricks. I'm done. I'm not touching Luke. Jacksonville Zoe and Costa and Rockhold are both on my do not bet list. Costa should smash him, honestly. I think he'll be able to knock him out. And I'm a big Rockhold fan. You know what I mean? He won me decent money against Chris Weidman, lost me just as much money against Jan Blachowicz, all because that chin is a no-no nowadays. Lajon Dream saying segment on GQ Sports just came out with Dana White going undercover on the internet and replying to people. Wow. I got to see that. DM that shit to me, bro. I got to see that. That's hilarious. Aaron, remind you guys to leave a like for your boy. That would be greatly appreciated. Rick James saying, I believe in the samurai. Good luck. Jacksonville's also mentioning Moyes. Tristan, have you ever been willing to do more than a 5-unit bet before? I have never done more than 5 units on a bet. Untracked, I have, but tracked, I would never do anything more than a 5-unit bet. I think that's a little bit careless. Alex Magestro saying, did Pedro Munoz land a single head strike against Sugar? I don't get how people think he was winning. It's not that I think he was winning. It's that I know he was winning. Let me just confirm it, but I think they released the scorecards of that first round. Yeah. 2 out of 3 judges had that for that first round for Pedro Munoz. That's what I mean. Lajon Dream saying, yeah, I do basic editing for my videos and it takes me 4 to 6 hours usually. Crazy. Gedalia in Toronto, yeah. Morgan Kinsey saying best 3-fight parlay for this card. I'd have to say, let me just pull it up here. Fuck. Let's go Lupita Godinez. Like if you just want to do fighters, I'd say Godinez, Quinlan, and Budai. But if you don't mind throwing like fight doesn't go to decision legs in there, I think the Benitez on Tavares fight doesn't go to decision is a good one, as well as Silva and Mearshart is a good one. Aaron saying in the interview, Dennis says it was to be Lesnar versus Fedor, but Fedor didn't accept. Considering the power of Fedor, still that would be wild. I wish. You know, I know that fight is always going to be talked about as the biggest what ifs in MMA history, but I wish we got that when both guys were closer to their prime. Tristan saying, do you remember one of those untracked ones you went more than 5 units on? I think it was Jared Cannonier against Derek Brunson. That's the last one that I can remember where I'm like, I feel really fucking good about this, and I went that deep. JC saying with Ontiveros Rockhold for the no chin parlay. With Ontiveros Rockhold for the no chin parlay. God damn. My man is a ballsy dude. I'm not sure if you're talking about fading those three spots, but if those guys come through, that'll be a damn good payout. Rick James saying scared money don't make money. That is true. But you also have to be very smart with your bankroll. Aaron saying laugh my ass off on Vanilla Gorilla 3-legger. BP saying UFC 280 has too many coin flip bouts to bet on. Only lean is Mikhaev and Marina. Do they have the odds out for UFC 280? UFC 281, they have it listed as, but it's actually UFC 280. Yeah, Jan minus 410. Brady minus 130 against Bilal Muhammad seems like a good spot. Yep, I like Marina minus 150, and I kind of lean TJ Dillashaw plus 140 over Sterling. $10 minutes till 5 o'clock, and still haven't heard from my guy Cody, which isn't the greatest. So I'll be waiting to hear what he says and what time we're going to be going live. Yeah, I can't believe I actually kept up with the live chat so far. We got about, well, I started a little bit later than 4 o'clock, so I'll go until I hit that full 1 hour mark. And then whenever Cody gets back to me, I will tweet out when we're going to be going live for propping you up. MPTV saying TJ is made to be in close fights only. I disagree. I don't think he's always meant to be in close fights. Like, he's had some dominant performances. I plead with anybody, if anybody has time and they have Fight Pass and they want to go back and watch some classic fights, I think one of the greatest performances we've ever seen, maybe two fights in terms of the greatest performances we've ever seen. TJ Dillashaw versus Renan Barao won, especially considering that TJ was a plus 500 underdog going into that fight. If you guys have not seen that fight, I would highly suggest you guys go watch it. Just out of fun, right? Like, I know that he's not of that level or of that age anymore. Sorry, it looks like my stand is about to give out. Hopefully, holds on for another 10 minutes or so before I have to fix it. But yeah, that Dillashaw versus Barao 1 performance was fucking insane. Make sure you guys go check that shit out. Jon Jones saying I only got odds for 4 fights for 280 so far in Betway. Yes. Looking forward to propping you up. Hopefully Cody answers soon. I know we'll do it, whether it's tonight or tomorrow evening, or sorry, tomorrow morning. It will be done within the next 24 hours for sure. Hopefully it's soon. Najwan Dream saying maybe he had his kid. I think he said his kid was due in September. So I'll rule that out unless it's super preemie. BP saying Molly versus Aaron reminds me of KKF versus Askar Askarov. Huh. How so? Like, you don't think Aaron's going to be able to get this fight to the ground and Molly will just beat her up on the feet? MPTV saying the Cody Garbrandt fights don't count. Why not? Those aren't close fights. Killer Shaw, let's go. Jacksonville, appreciate you dropping by as always. We'll see you again next week for the MMA Lock Talk. Morgan Kidsey saying, what new prospect are you least impressed with off the top of your head? For me, after seeing Brady versus Chiesa, I do not like Brady against anybody in the top 5. Wow. I think Brady is legit. You know, Chiesa is pretty damn good too. I'd have to watch back that fight to remember how close it was, but Chiesa is a mean grappler in his own right. New prospects that I'm least impressed of. I'm not super impressed with David Onama. You know what I mean? I personally am not. Paddy, obviously not impressed by him, especially once he starts taking like legitimate fights against legit competition and not Jordan motherfucking Levitt. Um, Other prospects. Hmm. Yeah, can we talk about the fucking Dana White Contender Series guys that are rolling into the UFC now? Good God, some of those guys look bad. Mr. Always Profit in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. McGregor versus Alvarez. That was a great performance as well by McGregor. There was one more. I'm kind of forgetting it off the top of my head. Max Holloway, right? Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar, probably one of the greatest performances of all time, just off of statistics alone. Lajon Dream saying, I got to go watch TJ and Hennen. Haven't seen it yet. They fought twice. Make sure you watch the first one first. And then going into the fight knowing that TJ Dillashaw is a plus 400 underdog. And then what transpires after that. Tristan saying, what do you think of Aljo saying he doesn't believe TJ won any titles without help? Personally, I think he's just salty at TJ because they went back and tested everything. I think there's some water to that. I think there's some weight to that in terms of TJ possibly being on PEDs during that run. It is absolutely possible. I think I'll always remember this when I really got behind the scenes with MMA when I was working on some of the regional shows up here in Ontario. I remember being with Robin Black. Robin Black was commentating, I believe, and he was helping out the show that I was helping out with it as well. And one of the things he had told me, he goes, dude, like almost everybody is on some substance of some sort. Like he didn't name any names, but he goes, think of anybody and they're more than likely on something. So like I think this fairy tale that we've come up with that like we have clean fighters in the sport, I don't think it's correct. Like I'm certain most guys are able to get away with shit. It depends on who's able to afford the best doctors, honestly. Aljo might even be on some shit. Let's be honest. Morgan Kinsey saying, I feel Brady don't have 5-round cardio. If you remember, he almost got stopped on the feet in round 3 against Kissel, who, as we all know, can punch his way out of a wet paper bag. I don't personally, I really don't remember that fight the best. I don't remember why. I don't remember it. What was that fight? Vera versus Tate. Yeah, I'm not sure why I don't remember that fight to the best of my abilities, but I'll have to go back and watch that. Corey Ipo saying Azamat is the lock. Andre Muniz couldn't take him down and got slept. I see the same happening to Clark. I think we're getting a good line on Azamat. Has it gotten any better? Let me just quickly look at the odds here. Last I saw was minus 145. He's still around minus 145. Mr. Always Profits saying, I'm on Cheeto here, but I agree close to minus 250 is a little wide. Might look in a parlay with him. Something I'm behind on the tape study this week. Only taped Azamat fight in the main event. Good luck with Cheeto, my friend. Good luck, good luck, good luck. MPTV saying, I think there is much to be made of killers becoming decisionators. I just feel like TJ falls in that. There's so much tape. Every move is documented and studied. Good point. I do think that the striking of TJ is going to give Aljo some issues. It's going to be interesting to see if Aljo can track him down, right? I think his best way to win this fight is be the human backpack as he normally is, right? That's his best way of winning fights. Can he track down TJ to do that? I don't know. Dustin Shafi saying, sorry if you already addressed this, but are you doing propping up with Cody this week? It should be happening. I am just waiting for him to get back to me. Should be going. It technically was scheduled for 5 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, but sometimes it changes based on our schedules. White House Troll saying, if Cheeto versus Cruz would be a pick on, would you still go for Cruz? I would. I think I've even said I'd bet Cruz probably up to like minus 150. I think he's the better fighter. Mr. Always Prophet saying, I love Aljo here without tape study, of course. Well, run the tape and then let me know what you think when we get closer to it. All right, we got about 5 minutes left before I wrap this thing up. Again, keeping my eye on my inbox here to see when I'm going to be starting up propping you up. But yes, I am absolutely prepared to look like a complete idiot come Saturday night if Chito Vera goes out there and crushes him. But if he doesn't, I'm going to be pounding my chest quite often. That whole week. I'll go out there and buy a Dominic Cruz fight kit and fucking wear it for the whole week if I could. BP saying Randy Costa beats Guido Canetti. He probably does, but I think we have found the ceiling of Randy Costa, right? He is the epitome of a first rounder bust fighter. The guy has no idea how to manage his gas tank, no idea how to deal with his gas tank. Like it's crazy the drop off we see from him going into that second round. Guido Canetti is of the guy that he can beat, but Canetti, decent durability on him so far, from what I remember. And if he can withstand that first round against Costa, I think he destroys him in the second round. Fight doesn't go to decision. Fight to not start round 3. Canetti by round 2, probably the best way to go about it, in my opinion. Ginge79 saying, what is Azamat's path to victory? I think he is the better striker in terms of, maybe not technically speaking, but better at getting to the target. His durability is up there. His speed is up there. I think he could start Clark pretty early in this fight. I think his wrestling is good enough to keep this fight standing. And Devin Clark is no Tafon and Chukwi. So give me Azamat, and I'll likely be having a small play on his money line. Just keeping an eye on it myself because it seems like there's continuously Devin Clark love coming in. So why rush it? Why rush it? Mr. Always Prophet saying, all I see is nothing but Cruz love, but the line keeps getting wider. I expected the opposite. That's why I didn't lock in Chito earlier. It's funny. I hear this every week. People are saying, people saying all they're seeing is Cruz love. All I'm seeing is Chito love. Like I see it all everywhere. That's why the line is going up. And remember, this is another thing I see every week is saying all I see is love for one side, but the line keeps getting wider. We need to remember that the small community that we have in YouTube and Twitter and all that does not dictate how prices are pushed. There are so many gamblers out there that don't let their plays be known. There are so many gamblers out there that don't want to be known. That's why lines move a certain way, even though you're seeing nothing but love on social media for the other side. Personally, I think there's a lot more people out there parlaying and playing Chito Vera than there are people willing to back Cruz. And based on all the content I've done this week and what I've seen on Twitter is the Chito Vera love. So, yeah. Nathan asking, what do you think of Jack versus Leach? I lean Jack there. I do. Better striker. The Leach will likely need to grapple, but I do like me some Jack Della there. Maybe in the fight doesn't go to decision. Mushroom saying Vera round 4 sub. Good luck, my friend. Is Azamat a wrestler? I believe he has a sambo background, but he has used his wrestling should he require it. Jin saying Clark is not Tafon. You're right. He's better. Ooh. Is he? Are we all of a sudden writing off Tafon and Chukwi because he got knocked out twice? I'm saying Clark is no Tafon in regards to his striking. Clark is, a developing striker as of this point, but Tafon's striking, his hard-nosed striking style is what gave Azamat issues that night. Clark, I don't know if he's going to be able to get that respect from Azamat on the feet the way that Tafon did. And then wrestling, I'm not sold that Clark's going to be able to get this guy and grind him out. I think Azamat can knock him out pretty much at any point. Mr. Always Prophet saying on Azamat with you, though. First official play on the card, looking to get minus 130, hopefully. Yes, I do think we'll, based on the love that I'm seeing and based on how the line is trending, we will likely get minus 130 on him. It seems like Clark is the public's favorite dog this week. Corey Ipo saying Azmat has KO power all 3 rounds. Wrestling not very good, but hard to get him down. There you go. Mushroom in the chat. Love you, Sneak, watching at work. I love when guys are doing that. Nathan saying, I think Della is a welterweight contender. You think that guy breaks top 5? If he continues progressing the way that he does, yes. And based on the matchmaking that he goes up against, possibly. A wrestler could give him some issues, that's for sure. Mr. Always Prophet saying that fight got announced League versus Jack. Oh, Nathan making scenarios. I thought that was legit. Fuck. You got me. You got me. David Dean saying, Lock, think you may be underestimating Bruno Silva's BJJ. Any Brazilian who makes it to the UFC has most likely faced many BJJ experts. Possible, but like Gerald Mearshart is a very crafty submission artist. I think that if this does get to the ground, Bruno will be in trouble. But I really think that I think it's going to come down to him knocking him out, honestly. I think Silva gets that knockout even before this fight hits the ground. Waleed Sultan saying, Yo, ki hal, my brother. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Appreciate that. Rips and Picks saying, you taking Juice Quinlan this week, and do you think the catch rate of 180 plays to anyone's favor? I think if anything, it will play into Witt's favor, considering he's the bigger guy, the guy that will be looking to use his weight against Quinlan. I'm not taking the Juice myself, but I could see people willingly parlaying him. He should be able to knock out Witt, though. You're forgetting him, Nathan. You're forgiven. Aaron saying I'm on Juice Quinlan for sure. There you go. He should be able to get that knockout. It's a good fight. It is a good fight. I hope they end up making it. Jin79 saying, LOL, talking out of your ass. Stefan was exposing Azamat. Clark wrestles him at will. I don't get it. I don't get it in terms of how you think a wrestler, taking what you did from the Tefan fight and applying it to this fight with Clark. They're two different, totally stylistic matchups. It's like saying, let me think of an example here. Plain and simple, it's like saying this guy was getting exposed by a striker, which is why a wrestler will now beat him based off of that fight. That's what you're saying. Makes no sense. It makes zero sense. Waleed saying Gerald has a glass chin. I agree. No chin. He's too slow. He's just too slow. I think that's the issue here. Bruno Silva KO's GM3. I agree. Mr. Always Prophet saying Clark's best win is debutante. Menafield, I just think Azmat in and out striking will frustrate Clark. I agree. And getting clipped. Also, I can see Azmat wrestling and having success if he chooses. I agree. All right, I'm going to take these last couple questions that I'm going to get out of here. Still haven't heard from Cody, but keep your eyes peeled on my Twitter page to see what time propping you up will be going down. Alex is saying Yuri Yan immediate rematch in the works. I'm fine with that. Yuri Yan, I think you mean Yuri and Glover. That's what it is. GM3 took punches against Muradov. He did, but I don't think Muradov has the knockout power that Bruno Silva does. Jin saying during Yan October main event. Yeah, crazy that they made that a main event matchup. I don't get it. BP saying Mahmoud Muradov and Kyle Borralho prediction. I'm starting to lean Borralho. He gained some respect from me in his last fight against Armin Petrosian, but Muradov, we're seeing once he starts facing resistance, the guy starts to slow down. So Kyle, kind of the same thing, but I think that we'll see him have even more success as well. I'll lean Kyle, but I probably won't be betting that fight. Need to see the odds, obviously, first. Submission game is next to none. Yep. Volkan versus Krylov at 280. I think that is matched up. I lean Uzdemir there. I do lean Uzdemir. But Krylov's output and Raby's attitude is tough to overlook. Yeah, but I'll go Volkan. Nathan saying always got to back up GM3 just in case. Onama fight is a fade. I might be taking a half unit shot on Landwehr. My guy, AJ MMA expert in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Clark round 3. I'm hearing that take as well, but I'm not 100% sold on that myself. Just because he got William Knight out of there in round 3 doesn't mean that he can do that against Azamat as well, right? Like Clark, William Knight, who we know fucking sucks now. So if you're basing it off that fight, I wouldn't take too much of it and put into this one. Mr. Always Prophet saying LMAO, people really act like Tafon got 2 10-8 rounds in that fight. The judges literally had it 1-1, 1-1, and 2-0 Tafon. It was tied up going into the third and got the KO. Good point there. Even the small Bruno Silva KOs GM3. I love it. I love it. Don't tap saying Clark will be met with break off elbows off the cage when he stalls. He either gets bloodied up or KO'd. I think he's getting KO'd. Ginge79, what's your top pick this week? Been fading you on Bet MMA for majority of April. Oh, did you? Then you've been losing. If you've been fading me, you have been losing, my friend. Because I've been killing it since April. You'll have to join the Patreon to find out what the lock of the night play is this week. Fuck you. I'll keep you in here. Well, I am up for the year, my friend, and I've definitely turned around from the mistakes that I made. All right. You're strictly here to troll Yagan. That's it. I don't fuck with trolls like that. Like, get a life. Holy shit. Jeez Louise. Let's see. The last thing I'll say about that, if you only faded me in April, why'd you stop? These fucking numbnuts. Let's get back here. Nathan's saying Magomed is going to prevent Jan from getting another title, I think. I agree. Nathan's saying, and I'm Polish. I hate to say it. Damn, Gingy took Sato. I took longer brushing my teeth than Sato did fighting. Thank you. Am I the only one crazy? Am I the only crazy one fading Calvillo hard? I'm fading that fight hard. Period. Want nothing to do with that fight. Does Lipsky fight go over 2.5? I think it does, but I'm not counting out a possible finish from either side. Corey, you saying I want to take Zalal so bad, but Black looks pretty good on regionals. Yeah, he's faced some legitimate competition on the regional scene as well, so we can't overlook that. Let's see thoughts on Meatball versus Blanchfield. All over Blanchfield there. Looking forward to seeing what the line is. What an idiot. Rips and picks saying when randoms come out of the woodwork to talk shit, that's how you know you've built something legit. Keep it going. There you go. Lock money line parlay. You want to go Godinez, Budai, throw in Quinlan if you want. But I'd say Godinez and Budai are probably the best spots. Mr. Always Prophet saying, who you think Reyes is fighting next and you think he gets done? I think he can still win. I don't know who he gets. You know, he's a tough one, right? Dealt with so much damage. Why not him? They already did Vlahovic and Reyes. Fuck it. Give him Paul Craig just to get his feet wet again. That's it. Give him Paul Craig. Corey Yupo saying, got to save up my pennies. Biggest bet of the year on AJ Fletcher. Who's he fighting? Alejandro Marquez saying, don't be cheap, Lock. Why did you take out the winners out of your descriptions? I'm still counting the winners, but just listen to the breakdowns and you guys will see who I'm taking. I had a lot of people actually hit me up and they're like, hey, you know, I don't like seeing the winners in the descriptions because I don't want it spoiled for me as I'm listening to the podcast or watching the podcast. And I honestly looked over everybody's, I look over like a lot of the content creators and how they do their timestamps and descriptions as well. Nobody puts the winners in their descriptions. So I thought I would just stick with that as well. Notice no winners in the description, but just listen to the breakdowns and you guys will hear who I'm taking. Budai or Quinlan for DraftKings lineup. I'd say Quinlan because he'll probably end up getting that first round finish. Boudet will get the finish as well, but I think it comes a little bit later. I bet with the goat saying, bro, off topic, but do you have crypto? XRP is the new standard. You heard of it. I have not. I do not mess with crypto. SKD saying I'm on Cheeto heavy, counting on tenacity in 3, 4, and 5. Don't see Cruz's movement, finding success through late rounds. Best of luck. Best of luck to you as well, my friend. But I am definitely on the Dominic Cruz side. All right. I'm going to wrap this bitch up. We're at an hour and 10 minutes at this point in time. Keep your guys' eyes on my Twitter page to find out when propping you up is going down. As soon as I find out what time works best, make sure you guys check it out. And we'll be over there on the All-Star breaking it down. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. That is the last episode of MMA Lock Talk for the week. We will be back on Monday to restart up the week again. So I'll see you guys then. But I'll also be back tonight, like I said, for propping you up. Back tomorrow on my channel for the Ultimate Weigh-In Show, 3 p.m. Eastern with my guy Andrew Gombis. So make sure you guys come through and check that out. And then obviously Fight Day live chat 1 p.m. Eastern. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Love the haters too that take the time to come out here and say they only fade me in April and then say they haven't faded me every time any month else after that, even though I've been killing those other months. But they just don't want to admit it because they want to be haters, right? Is what it is. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. See you guys for propping you up.